So, I want to welcome to the world
Yes,
the
sir.
amazing, fantastic, beautiful person that I know, Khadijah B. What's going
Thank you
on?
so much. I appreciate you so kindly. It's been a long time coming for us getting together and collaborating since the beginning of your start of the conversation and myself as well. So it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. I've
Yeah.
been looking forward to this conversation for a while now. I
Yeah.
have. You just have a very unique energy, spirit, demeanor, and me personally, I am a fan of your voice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you.
Patty LaBelle over there with the conversation.
Yep, yep. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. So, my first topic for you is I want to talk to you about your journey. And I also want to just talk about the journey.
Yeah,
So, when I
yeah.
say the journey, just like the journey in life, when it comes to just everything that we go through growing up, mindset, um, like if it's trauma, if it's business, if it's relationship, if it's finances, this is called life, and it's the journey. But then you have your life journey, you
Yes.
know. So for you, what you have accomplished right now, where you are at in your life, you've been through so much,
Hmm.
So can you explain your life journey?
Yes, I probably won't be able to explain it in short detail because there's a lot. But let's just start here. So, fun fact about me that maybe you don't know. Well, I lived in Denver for 8 years in Metro Denver. I lived on the
Wow.
Five Points, right there in Curtis Park, and
Okay.
I transitioned from Florida when I was about 20, 21. Okay. I had
Hmm.
my oldest son now in 16, around 19, 20. And life just was a lot at that moment for me. I was trying to maintain life, a child, education, and, bettering myself. And I just found myself in a space of complacency and I couldn't get moving the way that I wanted to move. So I decided to make a locational move. And
Mm.
that's how I ended up in Denver 2008. I'm always about, go ahead,
From where originally?
from Tampa, Florida. So I'm originally
Okay.
from New Jersey. And then we
Okay.
moved to Florida.
Hmm.
And then that's where my family groomed me and things of that nature here. But then I ended up in Denver again in 2008. And then all I knew is to like go further myself. So I went back to school. So I became a student of CCD, the Community College of Denver.
Hmm.
And maybe a year into that, was offered a job in the financial aid office at CCD.
Okay.
And that's where my financial literacy become, broader and started grooming in that space.
Right.
But in that journey before that happened, yeah, I had it rough. Like I stayed in shelters out there, with my son, which was one at the time. And
Right.
life at that point really just taught me how to really be like when people say 10 toes down, we talking
Hmm.
about really learning how to be 10 toes down, how to focus on what
Right.
your purpose is and really regroup. Because when I was out there, I'm in a city where it snows, right?
Right.
I didn't have transportation, but you guys had the Metro Transit, so that worked. Um, I have family.
Hmm.
At the same time, I'm not anyone's responsibility. So you learn that shortly too, dealing with family and people and things of that nature. You just learn how
Right.
to get out there and really truly get it for yourself. And it's not
Right.
necessarily in a wrong way. It's just, look, I had to figure out how I was going to get my son fed, figure out how I was going to better myself. I was not a government recipient for long. I wasn't okay with that. So it was like trying to figure out really how is this young lady gonna cultivate into a grown woman? Because even though I was grown, I wasn't grown,
Right.
right? And I
Right.
was a mother. So it's like, what am I gonna do? So I just really stayed focused while I was in the shelter process. I took
Man,
all opportunities to further myself, better myself. I read. I stayed true to my faith, um, and I stayed in a tunnel vision for a very long time. A very long time. About 3 years, I would just kind of focus on what I needed to do while I was in that space. So, I mean, it's so much to talk about in my life. It's not in a small segment that we could speak on that, but that's just kind of like a gist of where I come from to where I am now. It was all of that, going to another place, not knowing myself, not knowing what to do, and really just focusing in and saying, okay, I know I want something for myself, so let's start here. Let's go get some education. And that's kind of
right.
how that started.
Man, that is a powerful story because it's like it takes so much for a person to go through something like that because you are
Yeah.
at a what is perceived as a low place,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not alone in this journey either. You have a child with you,
Yeah.
you know. So the pride of a person, like say that, pride could be the death of man. When you're prideful, like I'm not standing in no shelter, I'm not
Right.
doing this, but
Right.
you have to get on the road to allow yourself to grow, you know,
Absolutely.
from like you said, there's a lot more. So from whatever you was going through,
Yeah.
whatever you had going on, that your transition from a young girl to adulthood, but still being a young girl, not actually been an adult, but you have made decisions that put you in a position of a
Absolutely.
adult and a
Absolutely.
parent.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just powerful because when you hear stories of people who have come from something,
Yeah.
you come from a place, and you thinking that it's all peaches and cream. You
Mm-hmm.
don't know they story. You don't know their history. You
Absolutely.
don't know what they had to deal with and overcome. And it's
Yes.
powerful because somebody can hear your story and be like, "Man, I can make it. I can
Absolutely.
push forward." You know, and people who don't even have children
Mm-hmm.
who are struggling but don't
Mm-hmm.
understand. They see Khadijah like if she did it with a child,
Mm-hmm.
what's my excuse? You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
Yeah, and
So that's how.
to that point too, that's why I like to be very authentic with my audience. I hold no punches. I mean, if I'm walking this thing out, my life is gonna be on display. So I gotta get over what it looked like and be okay with what may be shameful or whatever the case may be. I'm so past that, so I can
Right.
be honest and true to the people because everybody wanna, you know, be here, but it takes a lot of going through the trenches to get there. And some trenches is different than others. And that's why I really like to be honest with people. I like to be my authentic self. I don't like
Right.
to, cookie cut and all that stuff. It's just that's not me.
Right.
Because I got a real live story that it's real.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you for sure for being able to express that story. Because I'm so big on being able to be helped by people's stories
Mhm.
because we all have our journey. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that
Yes,
a
sir.
lot. So the next thing to transition into is I want to know the things that are important that you learned along the way. Like when you start talking about triage, you start talking about the most important thing that you picked up on. If it was from something that you read, if it was an experience, if it
Hmm.
was making a mistake and then
Hmm.
learning from it, or you didn't even make the mistake, but you've seen it so many times, you like, man, these things are so important. So if you can gather anything in your mind from experience, from maybe a elder, maybe your journey, what are the most important things that you learned along the way?
And I know this is gonna sound like normal or it sound like a repetitive or redundant, but it is your faith.
Mm,
Because with faith, it keeps you grounded. And I don't know, I know people may say that a lot and it may sound just harani, but it's real. Like my faith has been such a groundkeeping place for me that it doesn't allow me to waver. There's just things about what I believe that um, I'm not willing to unbelieve or waver with anyone about. When it comes to business, let's just use that as an example. When it comes to business, there's just things that I will not do.
Mm-hmm.
because my integrity and my faith is like it is no. It's like you got the good person over here, the bad person over there, and you have to make a
Yeah.
decision. And because I grew up half Muslim, now Christianity, it really taught me a discipline in my stance and what I believe. And that is
Mm-hmm.
truly for real what I've grown to learn and mature in. Even with being placed in faith at a young age where I had no choice. As life went on through my own decision making, I realized how much that really was important for me to hold on and hone in for myself. So at 36, I've grown into my belief system. It was not just, oh, I believe and that's it. No, I've actually walked through processes that cultivated and kept me really stuck on what I know and what I really truly believe that I deserve, right?
Yeah.
Or what God has for me. Some things you just can't shake. I've tried to shake a lot of purposeful things away from me, but I can't because it's for me to do and it's for me to be a part of. So I would say foundationally, I would just say your faith, like for real. And this ain't no, this is your faith keeps you real rooted. And you go through different levels of faith, right? Like faith ain't just, to me, faith is not just a word. It's like, nah, it's a process. Like you going through different trials and tribulations
Right.
show you these different levels of faith walk, belief system,
Right.
whatever that may be for some people. You know, it takes them different levels of that. So that's it, and that's all for me.
Yeah.
That's
Man, that's amazing though that you was even able to compartmentalize everything in together and say for you it all came down to faith. You
mm-hmm,
know, because what faith is like one thing you said keeps you grounded, you know, and also faith is your belief, whatever that may be. So I mean, you're believing in that. You ever read that book, The Four Agreements?
mm-mm.
You heard of it?
Agreements. Mm-mm.
Yeah, The Four Agreements. You should check it out because it's like basically when it comes to your
Mm-hmm.
life is typically based off of how someone has influenced you to
Mm-hmm.
believe something or
Mm-hmm.
to not believe something. You know, something can be for you and
Mm-hmm.
someone can ridicule you about it and it can make you believe that you're not good at it and that becomes your
Absolutely.
belief system, you
Absolutely.
know.
I'm gonna
So
read it too.
yeah, um so it was powerful when you said that you're not willing to unbelieve whatever
Mm-hmm.
you believe. But I believe that you will unbelieve something based off of my interaction with you if the results are not there. You
Yes,
know,
that's true.
you know, yeah,
That's
but yeah, and that's what we should do because it's a part of growth. You
yeah,
know, only a fool despise correction. So it's like
right.
if this is not working, then I have to adjust. I have to acclimate. I
Absolutely.
have to tweak something. It might not
Absolutely.
be the whole thing is not beneficial, but maybe I'm missing something.
And
You
yes,
know,
and that's why I say it
so
takes levels to that because in growth, you can miss pieces, right? You
right,
can believe this and it be this, but not all of this. So you have to
right.
appropriate what you are supposed to believe and move in, and that takes growth. That's why I say from the age of 7 to believing to 36, it's been
Hmm.
different fluctuations of my process. You know, it's
Right.
my now is where I'm at. It's my understanding. My understanding changed from when I was 7 to 36. You know, my knowing, my believing in myself, all of those things change. So you're
Right.
correct. If it doesn't make sense, I will alter it.
Yeah. You know, which is good because if you don't, that's wild. I remember reading something on a wall
Hmm.
years ago, and it said if you always do what you always done, you always get what you always got.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
yeah, that makes sense. But
Absolutely.
and I believe too that faith is like your foundation. It's something to build upon. You
Absolutely.
know, because they say if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. So
Yeah.
you have to have something that you're building upon that's solid. that you know that you can go back to if you get lost along the way. Because we get lost because we go
Yes,
through so much in life. We have so many different experiences. Me personally, I come from the working class. I come from the 9 to 5 jobs, trying to transition over to entrepreneurship and
right.
business. But I was so programmed to just work and exchange my time for a paycheck, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's like if you don't have something to build upon, then you can waver so easily because you run into, like, say, relationships with people,
Hmm.
and you might have had a good heart, a pure heart, but then when something happened,
Yep.
it alters you. You know what I mean? And you can get lost because you're like, man, I want to be trustworthy, I want to be honest,
Yes,
I want to be
that's true.
loyal, I want to be all this stuff. But then someone done something that made you feel some type of way. You're like, I'm
It's
gonna try
surreal.
to, yeah, I'm going to try to guard my heart, protect myself. But you can lose yourself on that journey because now you become a person who is not, you are disingenuous now. You are not authentic because you're saying, me doing certain things got me this. So I
Right.
switch it up to try to fit the masses in the
Wow.
world. So that's why it goes back to trying to have that foundation of that faith. Because if
Yeah.
you don't have that foundation, you're going to get lost because you're going to be trying to uh, give and take,
Appease. Yeah.
appease
Yep.
people,
Yep.
along the
You're gonna,
way.
yep. Yep. And that's, and I'm not gonna act like I've never, found myself doing something that wasn't what I knew to do, my foundation, right? Because
Of
that's not
course.
true. That I mean, that's I had a child early,
Right.
right? So it's not that I haven't, but it is the growth process. It is understanding that at the end of the day, you have to stay true to your core, regardless of how people treat you, and that's hard.
Hmm.
Regardless of how business relationships go, you have this multi-million dollar business opportunity, and someone does something shady. What are you going to alter how you do it, or are you just going
Yeah.
to do to how you purpose to do your business with integrity? And if you
Right.
don't, then you're going to reap a negative harvest from that decision, right? So I guess for
Absolutely.
me, I realized that I eat the fruit of my own labor. So
Hmm.
it doesn't really matter what someone else does, right? I just got to stay true to my foundation. Ultimately,
Yeah.
it's my decision, right? Do I want the long haul? Do I want to delay and alter my purpose and what I'm supposed to be doing because of this? Nah, I don't want to do that. I've waited long enough, so I'm just gonna stay on my route.
Stay the course.
It's just decisions ultimately. Yeah.
Yeah. Something that's been in my mind a lot lately is the tortoise and the hare.
The
Is,
turn.
hey, cause slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you're not trying to, like with someone. Say we were talking about, if I had an opportunity for you, but it was a financial opportunity to gain,
Mhm.
but it was a quick gain, but say it came attached to, perhaps it was illegal.
Right, 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 right,
So now you talking about going somewhere fast, but have a maybe taking penitentiary chances or something,
right, right.
versus going somewhere where you say the long game, going somewhere far with someone versus
That's right.
fast with someone.
That's right.
You know,
That's right. And that's so funny that you say that, because my desire for the upcoming months to speak to my audience is going to be about taking their business from a hustle to a sole proprietor to a business to a corporation. And I want them to understand those four facets, because a hustle is just getting how you live, right? But when you get
yeah.
serious about that thing, you go into a sole proprietor. And that's
Hmm.
when you start getting legalities correct. You start LLC in your business and start doing the right stuff, right? And then you
Yeah.
start becoming into the business structure where you're now reading and you're focusing more on the education that
Right.
allows you to get better in that business structure. And then you go into
Hmm.
the corporation because you master those three things. And I wanted to say that to your point of the fast game. A lot of times you're doing stuff kind of shady at the beginning, right? Because you're
Yeah.
learning and you're trying to get money.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I'm gonna
Right.
do this. But as you become more educated and aware of the penalties, IRS
Right.
penalties, and just legal
Uh,
penalties and things like that, you have a choice at that time, because now you
right.
know better. It's just like when the word tells you it was better for you not to know than to know. Because when you know,
Man.
now you are held accountable for what you're
That's
doing.
right.
It's the same thing
That's
in the
right.
business structure. So that's why I say your faith holds you, because it doesn't matter if it's dealing with the business or your
Hmm.
personal. Your faith
Right.
is your faith. So it
Right.
shouldn't waver. Really start when you know better. You shouldn't really have to waver. So
Right.
that's going to be something I'm talking to my audience about as far as the business, because those four things are key. And it really puts you in a position of, are you going to be a great business owner, or are you going to be some shady business owners? Which one you want?
Right.
You know,
And that comes down to integrity.
it
You
does.
know, what
It
you're going to
does.
stand on.
It does.
Um, so that's great, because that also ties into the faith aspect, because your faith will be tested. Are you going to give into the pleasures, the desires, the crowd, the struggle, because it might
Yes.
be a longer road to get here, because people are taking shortcuts, people are backbiting you, they're
Yes.
backdooring you in the process
Yes.
of trying to get to the top. You have people who fall off along your journey. you
Yes.
know you like,
Yes.
dang, I thought this person was solid, they will always be here, they will always be around, and it's like,
Absolutely.
that faith, it doesn't just hold true to you, it's everybody that's around you.
Everybody
So
around you.
then there's lessons in that, because of who you choose to be a part of your culture, who you choose to be around you. You can't be sitting up here talking about that, how people are in the world. Then you have a responsibility to create the culture that you
That's
want
right.
to be
That's right.
around, because there are a lot of people in the world who are not straightforward, who are not
That's
shooting you
right.
straight, who
That's right.
will, stab you, throw you under the bus, run you
Absolutely.
over, put in
Absolutely.
reverse, go back over, you make sure that the
Yeah,
job is
you
done, spin the block, come back
right.
over,
All that.
do
You
speed
gotta do
bump,
all that. Yes, you ain't
you
lying. That's
know.
true. True. Yes.
So you are held as responsible for you to be the head. If you are the leader of something, you are the creator of something, you are the CEO of something. Everything's gonna fall based off of your perspective, your mindset, your integrity, your morals, your values, your direction, and your ability to listen and to be guided along the way. To do
Absolutely.
not be smart in your own understanding. Let your steps be ordered. Because if not, what you might think is gonna happen, what I mean? It's not always going to happen. You
Absolutely.
need some help. You need some help that's higher and more powerful than you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree.
So
100%. I agree.
man, so you like got your barometer meter on 10 over there,
It's up
like,
there. It's up there. And I have to,
yeah,
because I want something. I want something. So I have to.
yeah,
I have to constantly check my own temperature. I have to constantly check the temperature of those that's around me, because I
mm,
can't get too high and mighty,
that's
and
right,
I don't want those around me to do that, because
right.
obviously, our humbleness is what takes us to the next
Come
level.
on,
Gratitude, grateful for the things that's been done in our lives, in our business, in our family. That's when we go up. That's when we go
right,
up. So it's always, we got to check ourselves. We got to check those that's around us. I don't always have a circle. There's times I have two. I don't always have a whole thing, and I'm okay with that, because
right.
I have to understand what seasons I'm in.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
And to go along with that is the scripture that says, before honor comes humility.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So being humble is so important, and understanding those seasons. Sometimes we
Yeah.
might get mad at people who are no longer in our lives, and not
Hmm.
understanding that you are in different seasons, and people always transition. And it cannot
Absolutely.
even be a negative transition while somebody's not in your life. It's just they're not supposed to be in there for, this phase,
Absolutely.
so to speak. So
Absolutely.
even to identify that is that you're constantly growing, you're constantly evolving,
Yeah.
and moving, but to also remember that you can't do it alone. Like, don't be a lone wolf.
Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
sure you connect with people, network, resource, and don't burn bridges.
Do
You
not
know,
burn bridges, because you may have to
yeah,
come back around and use their bridge for another level of execution. And so it's definitely important to keep your connections with people, but know your seasons.
correct,
Hmm.
man. Khadijah,
Hmm.
you pretty good at this. You pretty good at this.
Yeah.
You-
I'm all right.
you pretty-
I just like
So
talking great dialogue. If you got great dialogue for me, we in there. If you don't, I might be short winded.
Absolutely, absolutely. In your perspective, what's been connected to your growth?
Say connected to my growth has been mentors, you
Mm,
know, those that are in great leadership positions, um,
mm-hmm.
that are willing, the leaders that I watch and listen to, they're willing to be students as
Mm,
well. And
mm,
because I'm always learning and I love to learn genuinely, I don't want to be a leader that just wants to lead and throw out orders and say this is what it is. You know, I want to actually have balance to that. So I only listen to leaders that I realize that don't mind being students and taking advice and hearing and adhering to information. So I would say mentors, great leaders, reading, reading. I've read a man, I've read a lot of books thus far, and I don't even be honest. I'm not a big reader. I really am not. Never have been. But I found
yeah,
myself no. But I felt myself really, really enjoying just a plethora of information. And I know it
yeah,
doesn't come from me just staring at a screen. It's gonna have to be
yeah.
opening up some books and
What did
actually
you say?
opening
Plethora.
books. Oh, plethora, multiple,
Where,
plenty.
where you learn such fancy
You know,
words?
they say that in school. But actually, like going and furthering myself, even with like mentors online that I may not, I may not know. Like I love listening to Robert Kiyosaki.
Yes.
I love
Rich
listening,
Dad Poor Dad.
and I love listening to him. I listen to him about 6 hours a day sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah, just he is so smart, and
Yeah.
I love listening to people that are cultural. That's not just
Mm-hmm.
in my realm, and I love listening to
Mm,
mentors that come from different countries as well.
mm,
He is. I want to say he's either Japanese or Vietnamese, but I love
right.
to him. Um, I love listening to like TD Jakes, and I love listening to TD Jakes not just for the spiritual and the biblical aspect. He's a business owner and he's a entrepreneur, and he's
Right.
a man of great value when it comes to business.
Yeah.
So I listen to him a lot. And so I would say for me, in my perspective, it's been me gaining information from mentors, leaders, reading, things of that nature. That's really what has kept me moving and pushing in this space that I'm in personally and business.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, because I agree with all of that, 'cause I think it's very powerful to have someone who is a mentor, someone who knows how to lead, what that looks like, because
Hmm.
your leadership it changes per person, you
Hmm.
know. So you won't lead two people the same way.
Hmm.
You have to figure out how to lead people, and before that, you have to figure out how to lead yourself. That was part of my thing when I was trying to build relationships. I'm single, and
All
when
right,
I was
ladies,
younger, growing up, huh?
grab them.
So along the way, it was the fact that there's so much that's tied to who you are, your being. So
Hmm.
me coming from a single parent household with just a woman, and me wanting to be a man. You
Hmm.
touched on this before about what is a man, you know, and because just because you are a male,
Hmm.
right? You're not born knowing what it means to be a man, you
Yeah.
know, and what that position is within a family. See, being a
Yeah.
man in the world, just as a man doing your own thing, like me, no one is dependent on me. I'm not obligated to no one. No one is obligated to me. I don't have to look over no children, over no spouse. It's just me. That's a man. But
Hmm.
when it comes to, and that's being a man for myself and being a man in this world. But when
Right.
you add your companion, you add a woman, you add children, you no longer just are in the box of being a man for you. It's like, now how do you be a man for this woman? And what does that
Right.
look like? And
Hmm.
then you might be used to speaking in a certain way,
Hmm.
and they say that most men are more logical. Most women kind of feed off more off of emotions. But
Hmm.
then you have the split when women start to get into business. They start to be more logical on certain things as well,
That's
you
true.
know. Um, but you could be a little bit too aggressive with trying to say something to a person, and you're like, I'm just being a man, I'm just being masculine, but it could be being toxic unintentionally because you don't know how to properly lead and articulate yourself to this person because you wouldn't talk to a child as you talk to an adult.
Right,
So
right.
even though you might be saying something that's right, you have to understand the capacity of someone's mind, their thinking. You have to be empathetic towards their background, where they come
Absolutely.
from, their learning style. It's so much, but that all goes
Absolutely.
into being a leader, and it also goes into what you said about a leader being a student. Because
Hmm.
if you are a leader position, you usually want to ask people around you to consult, to make sure that you're not tripping. Let me, like you said earlier, check my own temperature.
Yeah,
Like, am I viewing this wrong? Because maybe I got it wrong.
absolutely.
Maybe I'm missing something in the process. So usually, say like a king, he
Hmm.
was surrounded by wise counsel,
Yeah, yeah,
and there was a difference between counsel and wise counsel. Because you can counsel with
absolutely.
anybody, but it
Absolutely.
might not be wise counsel when someone
Absolutely.
is telling you something that is not very thought out. But when you
Absolutely.
have wisdom, you able to pull from different situations, different patterns of things, different experiences, and come up with a conclusion on why I might need to do something a certain way. But I want to touch on a little bit more on what you said about listen to people who are cultured.
Hmm.
Because the first thing that hit my mind was people from different countries,
Hmm.
um, and culture, perhaps maybe because maybe in the American culture,
Hmm.
a lot of things are watered down.
Hmm.
A lot of things is not solid, as in family first,
Hmm.
leading with family. People are not standing on the integrity and the honor of. I take pride in being perhaps a wife and our
Yeah.
husband. I take pride in being a man who started a family and
Hmm.
wants to make sure that I am the foundation
Hmm.
alongside this woman, because without her and us, there's no family.
There's no family.
So
Yeah,
you're alone are not the foundation. Y'all
that's right.
together is the foundation.
That's
You
right.
know. So, but if you coming up in a culture of environment where people are so caught up into the social media, looking for so much attention and
Hmm.
looking for all these likes and hearts
Jesus
and thumbs
Christ, you
up to
preaching.
make yourself feel good about yourself,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know, you're having this false. You really have an insecurity,
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
having this false security
Narrative. Yep, yep.
through likes that someone glorifies you, and it's like that's not really how that is. So is
Absolutely.
that what you mean when you start talking about listen to people who are cultured to try to
Hmm.
keep yourself connected to something outside of what's in the wavelength
Yes.
and the frequency of the American culture?
Absolutely, and that is exactly what I meant. I am speaking on not culture outside that too, but I'm speaking on people that have diversity in their understanding.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, some of us are, like you say, just so culturally stuck on like the social media world, what they deem to be family, what they deem to be single. This is how single women act, this is how single men act, this is how husbands
Right.
act, this is how wives act, this is how your children are supposed to act. And
Right.
I like sitting around people that have a variety of understanding.
Right.
They understand that it's a per household situation, right? Your
Right.
household is not like the next man's household. Your children are not like the next man's children. Your wife
Right.
is not like the next man's wife. And instead of putting people in this box and saying
Mm-hmm.
this is how everybody's supposed to look, this is how everybody's supposed to act, this is what everybody else is, that what everybody else does. This is like, no, this is per situation. This is
Right.
per man's standard, the morals, them coming together, being equally yoked, not necessarily believing what each other believe, but having a core value of a system that works for their dynamics and their
Right.
family and their children. Um,
Right.
and being able to actually sit down and say, okay, this is what's going on around us, but
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't work for the type of woman that I am, or that's not going to work with the type of man that I am.
Ooh, come
I
on.
wasn't raised to do those things. And I don't think those things are going to work for our household dynamic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the culture that I was raised with, we wasn't raised with talking to our mothers and our fathers like that. So we're not going to develop that culture in here, because that's just not going to work. So your culture from generation to generation that actually fits and works for what you guys are trying to accomplish as a whole, even if it was a single mom or a single father, you still have culture within yourself.
Right.
So it's really just coming together with people that can bring something to the table. Like I have a young lady that's been a friend since high school. She's actually from Uganda. So her children and my baby boy, they play football together. And so watching their culture dynamic, not necessarily race culture, but family culture. Right. And then like, oh, okay, that's different. Okay, they do this. Okay, we would like to try that. Doing something that's outside of the box that you would never thought of because your culture may have not consisted of that.
Right.
Family dynamic culture. That's what I mean.
Yeah, that's amazing. To build upon something, when you are exposed to something, like when they say you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So when you see something that you feel like you want to, what would you say, like input?
Yeah,
integrate.
Exactly. Entwine it, integrate it, see if it works.
Yeah, I remember I went to this thing called KAA, and during the church days, it was called Kids Across America. Okay. And they would send us to camp. And when we went to the camp, when you get to the camp, you can never serve yourself. So you serve anybody to the right of you. So you sat in a circle, so everybody was always served, and I was like, that'll be dope, as in you teaching your family that you don't reach in the middle of the table to grab the food. A lot of people don't even sit at the table no more and dine together and eat together, but when you read in the Robert Kiyosaki book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, he talks about how it was at the poor dad's home versus the rich dad's home, and how they sat at the table, and not only sitting at the table, but what they chose to speak about at the table.
Conversation.
Yeah, and that right there gives your children, you are planting these seeds in their mind, understanding that it's about your perspective on understanding. You can think about what you don't have, or you can think about, I don't have it, but how can I get it?
Absolutely.
How can I accomplish it? But if you're in a certain household, your mind stops at, I don't have it. And that's it. And that's, and like, the buck stops there. So I think it's powerful when you mention that this doesn't work for the type of woman I am, and it doesn't work for the type of man you are with, or the man that you want,
right,
or the woman that you want, and it's like, so how do we get to where we want to be? And if what people are doing doesn't lead us there, we can't follow what that is, because I can't mimic my life off of something that hasn't worked and not been successful, and it doesn't produce good fruit. Judge a person by the fruit that they bear. A good tree don't bear bad fruit. That's some bad fruit over there. But yet people are mimicking people with these bad fruits and wanting, good results. It's like, that's not how that works. That's why I say earlier, that if you're not mindful of how you move, and you don't have that, or you talking about that faith being grounded.
Exactly.
I understand that you can get lost along the journey, because you like, hurt people. So I'm not going to be the only one getting hurt out here. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Because reciprocity can be a person saying, you know what, I'm going to reciprocate the same thing you put out.
Right.
I'm going to dish it back. But you really don't want to be that person, because you don't want that karma coming around, because you saying, I'm just doing how you did me, versus just separating yourself from a person or people like that. So,
and a lot of that comes from, to me, really quick, a lot of that comes from people that really don't know who they are. And a lot of people can say that they know who they are, but they haven't sat with themselves long enough to even figure out truly from the core who they are. And that's why they'll accept anything and be in any type of atmosphere and be around any type of people, because it's like, you don't know who you are, because a king will never be found down in the gutter with the pigs. It just don't work.
Yeah.
If he would surely remember real quick who he was. And so it's just you got to know who you are. And a lot of men like, I'm a king, I need to be treated like a king. And it's like, you're
Yeah.
not making king moves. Like, that's not
Yeah.
king.
That's powerful right there.
And I'm true to that because I know how the kingship goes and the queen
Yeah.
goes. It's like, I'm
Yeah.
not, I'm a queen, I'm a queen, I'm a queen, I'm a king, I'm a king, I'm a king, I'm God, I'm God. And it's like, you're not acting in those manners. You're not acting royal. You're really acting like peasants.
Because like what's powerful about that is that a person and our people don't want to be held to a standard. When you say that, like you're not, your kinging is not kinging. You know what I mean? Like you're not, your queening is not queening. Like you don't want to be held to a standard, but you want to carry the name of the standard of what
the treatment of, you want the treatment like a king or a treatment like a queen. You want your husband, I need my nails done, my hair done. Those are just like, you would never have to tell a king that.
Yeah.
If you was a true queen, your king will want to serve you in every way that he knows about you. Like he's gonna pick this up. He's gonna know my queen likes this. You don't have to say that. It's just gonna come off on who you are. Your aura is gonna give that off, right? So we say a lot of this, and again, it goes to the culture. The culture is telling people they're kings and queens.
Yeah.
The culture,
which is so wild because that's such a high, title, such a high position to have. Like you calling yourself a king, you're not even the head. You know what I mean? Like the king,
you don't even have headship. You have no dwelling.
Yeah, you have no headship. You have no leadership.
Come on now.
You have no mentorship. Like
come on now. Nobody's
so
following
you can't have kingship.
Come on now. That's a whole nother topic, but that's just what happens out here. And so, no, we need to really help. Like I know one time I was listening to you, you were saying, what can we do? We talk about all the things that's wrong, but where are we helping to make those changes? And I think with these conversations, it's not enough to just do the conversations, but bring the tools to the table. Do virtual workshops to really help people realize, like, okay, first of all, stop saying that, and then let's develop into that. Let's do the work that it takes to develop into kingship. How you're talking about, look, I'm not accountable to anyone right now but myself. So while you're in that self space and you can be selfish, right? What are you going to do with that space to learn who you really are and develop? And so when you meet your queen, because that's what you're going to go looking for.
Correct.
She'll know off rip, oh, he's a king. Period. Hands down. I'm not, and she'll know how to bring balance to that kingship. Because she'll know what she's getting. Right? So it's don't confuse the woman saying you're a king and then you moving like, and she don't know.
You said
she don't know. She thought she got a king. No,
you're a fraud, perpetrator, imposter.
So that's my heart. All in all, is to teach people, really where they stand. Know your place and know your value. Know your worth.
Yeah, you said you was listening to who?
What you mean?
You said when you started talking, you said I was listening.
To Robert Kiyosaki.
No, it was me. I just want you to say it again. You said I was listening to you.
Yes, I was listening to you when you said that. You was like, hey, instead of just talking about the problems, because what are we going to do to try to like fix it and help be a part of that change and that movement? So we are them. We are them.
We are them. Yeah, so we are them.
We be them. So let's just
be them. Okay. So moving on from that.
Yes, sir.
Whew, this is a good one right here now.
All right.
I don't know if you're ready for this one now.
All right, I'm gonna get ready.
This is a little invasive.
Okay.
What do you steal out of everything you have going on and all your lessons you have learned? And even though you learned these lessons, right? Sometimes you know stuff, and we don't always apply them the way that we should.
Yes, sir.
So, what do you still battle with?
I am still very much so prideful.
Mm,
Even after all the things that I went through, even telling you how my starting, like you would think my pride was done coming from that space.
mm-hmm.
But no, I'm very much so prideful. And sometimes I don't know if it's a good pride or a bad pride. I don't know. I don't know sometimes. And I
Okay.
say I'll use an example. Um, in business, right? As aware as I am in business structure and information, I'm still very much so prideful to bring people into my space, even though I know that it's smart to delegate and to be a part of a team and to learn and develop together, to bring things to the next level. I'm very much so prideful as far as bringing people in my space and retaining certain information from certain type of people. It could be a little bit self-centered as well.
So
Um,
before you finish, if you don't mind me, and I always tell people I'm not interrupting, I'm interjecting.
okay.
Okay, I looked up pride
Hmm.
to see if this would give a barometer a little bit.
Okay.
So pride, a feeling. I don't know if they can hear me without me being close to the mic. A feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievement. The
Hmm.
achievement of those with whom one is closely associated, or from qualities or possessions that are widely admired.
Hmm.
Pleasure, joy, or delight. So when you said it, I was wondering in myself, like, can pride be a good thing and can it be a bad thing?
And reading that, I think it can be both.
It can be.
It can definitely be both. You can definitely have pride in great ways and in negative ways. I would say that I have pride in bad ways. Reading and I mean
Yeah.
I'm prideful in great ways, but my challenge is going to be the negative side of pride, just to be honest. But I'm working on it, and the first step is being honest with yourself. Forget anybody else. I know that about myself, so it's just, how do I get out of that
But
process?
what is it? Because like when I read it, right, a feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements. That's
So
something really good to have. Go ahead.
it's good, but you can't be so self-centered about what you've done to the point where you can't share it or want to relegate and delegate with other people.
You're right.
That's fine.
But also, this is for the audience. This is not for you,
Hmm.
Khadijah. But also, don't forget to pat yourself on the back and go too hard and not appreciate your journey. Because sometimes we have a process that we go through and we are accomplishing things and we kind of overlook our accomplishments because
That's
we are
true.
so worried about the end result versus you're 5 steps in and last year you were 0 steps in. But
That's
go
true.
ahead.
But that's true. No, and that's why I say I don't. And that's why I said I don't know if it was good or bad, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you are supposed to pat yourself on the back. Who else is gonna do it? You know.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like for me, and this could go back to just how I feel about myself. I've always been told like, "Oh, you're great at this and great," and I've down, I guess like downplay myself a little bit so that I
Hmm.
don't get so arrogant.
Yeah.
And in that, you could probably have a balance, like a bad thing of pride, because I don't want to get too arrogant. I'm like, I don't want to go back there, so I would stay
Yeah.
right here, right? So it's like
Yeah.
I force myself a little bit to not really do too much of that, because doing too
Yeah.
much of that got me in a position I don't want to be in. So I'm like,
Hey.
I don't want to do that no more. So
Yeah.
that's
Well.
just kind of don't, you know.
Well, your boundaries on what's too much when it comes to padding. But I think that I think it's a slippery slope to say the least. That it is that balance that you spoke about before, and the fact that pride is a good thing because you want to feel very good about what you've achieved. You
Yeah.
don't want to look at your achievements and always look on the outside for someone to try to give you the pat that you're looking for, because sometimes it's just you just keep doing your thing, being consistent, staying focused, and don't worry about all the padding. Because
Mhm.
say when it comes to what we do, right? People might view your content but they might not like it. That
Right.
like might represent a pat to you. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
When you might have 400, 600, 1,000 or more views, and people are really rocking with your content. So it's like, keep doing you and know that what you're doing is good work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I
But
agree.
but that's pretty good though. It's still like you have that balance of knowing that when it comes to, what do you still battle with? You like, I battle with basically trying to find balance between, I know what I've done in my personal life when I patted myself too much or too hard and it got me in trouble. So I see that you're very big on that balance and that humility, like,
Absolutely.
but to the audience, but be mindful also that you don't allow yourself to stunt your growth,
That's right.
along the journey.
That's right. That's true.
Yeah. So, this one right here. Oh, okay. Man, this is a good one too. Well, a lot of these, for the, like I made up these topics. You know what I mean? I
Yes,
think I'm pretty
we
good. These are
did.
good topics right here, girl. These
Yeah,
some good
good
topics.
topic.
Okay, so do you think?
Mhm.
And I'm gonna split this up because right now I just said, "Do you think?" But I want to split it up with think, feel, and or believe.
Okay.
Do you think, feel, or believe that you are who you thought you would be?
So this is gonna be, to the audience, forgive me, but this is true to me. This is the arrogant side of me, and I'm gonna say yes. Like, I envision me, even as like a child, being someone of voice,
Mm-hmm.
of impact, because of how my parents positioned me in life. So even when I was a child, I was always put in things to put me to the forefront. Sports and speaking engagements, being at church, and just being in a lot of different plays, and dancing and dances and things of that nature. So I'm gonna arrogantly say yes. Now, in the manner in which I'm doing things, no. But far as where I am and being the impact, and speaking to the masses and speaking online and just being influential, I would say absolutely, because I was groomed like this, to make an impact, and understanding that you only get one life, and when you leave this life, how do you want to be remembered? Do you want people to not even have ever met you, have ever had an impact from you? Or do you want to give an impact that they can have for a lifetime? And even if they only know me as Khadijah B from Facebook or the Shizzle Show, that's far more greater than no one ever knowing me and leaving with everything in me, right? Because you're supposed to leave this life empty, not full.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, what do you want? Like, what do you believe when it comes to the same question? You said not in the manner,
Yeah.
So I just wanted to know, like, what does that mean, and particularly not in the manner? Like, you thinking that the manner would be eventually you would get to that manner, or what? What does that mean?
I think that the way I seen, so it means that the way that I seen myself being impactful, I'm being used differently.
Okay.
And so where I thought being a believer, I might be in church speaking to the masses, God said, no, I'm gonna need you in a different way, and it's not gonna be the biblical conventional way. It's gonna be non-conventional. And so for those that do know of me or may see me moving forward, I'm on a show where I'm into the entertainment side of speaking and being in the space that I never thought I would be in, right?
Yeah.
But I'm still being used the way that I'm supposed to be used, which is speaking life into people and helping people. It just is not the way that I thought, or maybe others may have seen my influence to be used in. Some people have these ideas for you, and it's like, nah, but I'm being tugged this way and I feel it way more this way than I'm feeling it that way. And I'm gonna have to roll with this way because I want the aftermath to be purposeful, and I don't want to go back to the way it used to be because I did my own thing. And so that's what I mean when I say the unconventional way. It just now I'm doing it in a way that I never would have thought that I was doing it,
Yeah.
and I just with a certain audience. Yeah, like it's different.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wanted to know that because, like, to me, it gives me more clarity because I know that in life, sometimes you might have had certain things planned a certain type of way, but once you got connected with certain people, you do not know the doors that might open. Something might
Absolutely.
be bigger than you, than what you believe that you will be able to accomplish, and or the direction that you thought you was gonna do, and it led you somewhere else, and it
Absolutely.
evolved because
Absolutely.
life happens. You like, man, I never thought I would have been doing this, but that is what got you to what ultimately your destination. It got you to what you were doing. It allowed you to do more than only that, but it's expanded because you grow along the journey, along the way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In ways that
So
you
that's
never would have imagined. Like I've grown so much in this space, and it's good growth. And then it's is all stretching me and chopping me up a little bit on the edges and showing me my real self. All of that. So yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
and that's good too. When you say show me, I think it's very good, Khadijah, for a person to speak to people, someone who is your like close friends, family, and our spouse, and ask them, what's the word, like how you are perceived, how do you come
How do
off?
they view them? How do you view me? Yeah.
Yeah, my energy. You want to always take everything from a person, but typically, if you asking a person, hopefully you asking the right people
Right, right,
that's
right, right,
qualified to give those answers from
right,
great perspective. That goes back to that counsel and wise counsel.
right.
But someone who can say, "This is how you come off."
Hmm.
Your energy, your mindset, and people can say, "This is what I've seen as far as your growth." You
Hmm.
know, this is what you've done. So that person takes that into consideration. Like, because sometimes a person might ask that question, they might like, "There's no reason for me to talk about what you used to be."
Right, right, right.
'Cause the question might be more derived on how do you see me now. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? So
yeah.
that's great. So, how do you view your life's choices? Uh
Um,
oh. Uh oh. That was a deep breath. That was a deep breath. She's going underwater.
yeah.
Put
Trying
your
to come
swim
up.
trunks on and your floaties.
I view my life choices fair. I've made fair life choices.
Okay.
Because ultimately, there's some choices that I would have done things differently. One of the things is I love my children. I
Mm-hmm.
believe that I would have had or however, I would have had my children different in different time spans if I could have,
Mm-hmm.
so that I can really learn myself without having to bring them along the process of learning me.
Right. Right.
Um, because as being a child of a single mom as well for a while, you learn that when you bring children in the world, everything that you show them and everything that you do, you're bringing them into a cycle of behavior, understanding, and
Right.
sometimes it's not the best things for them to
Mm-hmm.
see, view, hear, be around, and so for me, I would say I made fair because my children are still smart, educated, well-rounded children. It's just
Mm-hmm.
I know within my knower, if I would have made different decisions, I would have more time to invest in me and put myself first and put myself in a position to ultimately win on a different level for them before I brought them here. Or
Right.
God brought them here, but before I was facilitated to bring them here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So
powerful. That's powerful. I don't think that a lot of people might not consider that. And I'm gonna tell you right now too, like your gift is so amazing and sometimes we can take it for granted because you are very well spoken. You
Thank
know,
you.
you are able to. You're welcome. You are able to articulate how you feel about something, and to be able to have the thoughts and to verbalize them, to express. You know, I didn't realize this. I remember dating someone before, and the way that they needed to express themselves was writing it out.
Mm-hmm.
But be able to be quick, like I'm asking you these questions live. This is not a pre warm up, you know what
Right.
I mean? And I'm asking you these
Yeah.
questions live, and you're able to be like, boom, like this is, you know what I mean? Like that's a gift, like that's a talent, you know, it's a skill, it's powerful. You know, you have to be this person to be able to maneuver seamlessly like this, you know, through conversation. So I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you.
But back to what you said, you're welcome. That's how I feel about myself, you know, as well when it comes to not having children. I always wanted a family, Khadijah, and I always wanted a big family. Like I'm
Yeah.
talking about 6, 8 children, big family.
Ooh, bless
You
your
know,
wife.
yeah, but you know, they always say, "Well, you had that first one. Let's see how you feel about having two or three," you know, type of thing. But I just felt like family was so important. But at the same time, I always knew that if I chose the wrong person, that it wasn't going to be good. If I chose the right person, it could be very beneficial and very great, because it's not about you choosing the right person for you alone. It's you choosing the right person for your future children. You know, how would
Absolutely.
that woman be for your daughters? How would that woman be towards your sons? How would she be able to, like you said earlier in here, hold on, the type of woman I am, the type of man I am, you know, when it comes to how what we're doing is going to benefit what we want to create, as far as the culture,
Absolutely.
as far as the lifestyle that we want for our family, and the direction of our children, as far as education,
Absolutely.
as far as principles, as far as the values that they hold and possess, as far as us having that family unit, you know, as far as us
Absolutely.
building legacy. Like with the wrong person, you're not building any of that,
You're not.
you know, because you're so busy trying to fight to try to get
You're
on the
trying
same
to
page.
survive. You're
Yeah,
trying to survive. Yeah.
and you already going through life. Life is already kicking your butt. You're
Yeah.
already trying to find your way through life, through the lack of having things. And at the end of the day, life don't owe you no reason. It doesn't owe you anything. Like you have to take whatever situation you came from and make the best out of it.
That's
Your
right.
card might not be as good or great as someone else's cards, but you have to play the hand that you're dealt, and you
That's
have to
right.
keep playing the game. You're
That's
not
right.
out. You know,
You're
as you
not
get
out.
older and you 36, you're
Yeah.
40, you're
Yeah.
46, you're
Yeah.
50, you're not out the game.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, do not ever fold.
And
Just
it's so
keep on
funny you
building.
say that real quick. I'm sorry. It's funny that you say that because I think at it like this, when people murmur and they complain, it's like, okay, so do you want to be out the game because you are not getting what you want? You wouldn't want to have to, you don't want to not be able to be here. So it's like, suck it up, put your book bag on, put the baggage, put everything, and let's just figure out how we're going to do this because
Your book
I don't want to
bag?
not be here. So I have to deal with it. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
And you deal with it with grace, and you deal with it with joy. Though I don't want to just deal with it, and I'm just feeling like bombarded and feeling like, oh, I gotta do this. Woe is me. No, I want to enjoy my children, enjoy my life, enjoy whoever God brings to me, enjoy where I'm at, and just enjoy this thing called life. You get it one time on the tangible tip, so it's like, let's enjoy it, because there's so many people that are not able to enjoy it because of the life that they've transitioned or things of that nature. And it's like, nah, it is what it is. Life is lifing. That's what's gonna
Life
happen,
is lifing.
and that's what is gonna
So,
happen.
to elaborate a little bit on what Miss Khadijah just said, because sometimes a person might not understand the the bluntness or the directness.
Sorry.
So when it comes to, well, no, it's not a sorry, because you already have explained your journey and where you started from. So you started from a rough place, a rough beginning. So when you're speaking from a person who's already been through a lot of those hardships, and you speaking from a person who's already had those doubts and those thoughts. But
Yeah.
now you're saying, now that you got to the other side, you're saying this is what you have to do. You can't complain about it. You have to put on your, and that's why I was laughing earlier. I said, book bag? You got to put on your book bag, Khadijah say.
Man.
You know, I don't know what's in that book bag, but you put it on.
Yeah. All your key essentials.
Yeah. So you put on that book bag and you don't be down. You know what I mean? Because when you say life is life, and I mean, life is going to happen if you're here or not. Life is going to happen if you trying to build or grow. Life is happening all around you. You know what I mean? And whatever life is and the rules of life, the conditions of life, life is going to do what life does. You have to figure out what you're going to do and how you're going to find yourself. So that goes back to this conversation that me and Khadijah B is having about creating a culture, being around people who you can be able to have this similar perception, mindset. It's food for thought. It's not saying have my perception, not having Khadijah's perception. What it's saying is that what can I take from something to be able to apply it to my life. It goes back to the type of woman she is, you know, the type of man I am. So I'm taking the wisdom, the information, the knowledge, and seeing how it works for me. An
Yeah.
old school guy used to tell me by the name of Kelvin Green. He would say, "Chew the meat, throw the bone away." You know, if it's for you, keep it. If it's not,
It,
sometimes he said, don't even discard it. He said,
yeah.
sometimes you discard it, or sometimes you keep it in the back of your mind because
It's
late
stored.
years later, it might be like, oh, I need that, and
Yeah.
or I heard it, but I didn't really get it until years later.
Absolutely.
You know, so
Absolutely.
I just want to be clear when Khadijah is saying, put your book bag on, put your big woman and man, you know,
Undergarments
stuff
on.
together. Yeah, that is not being inconsiderate to how hard life is in a
Yeah.
transition you have to go through. But if you're feeling that way, you have to find people to connect to get your mind off of that, because
Yeah.
she's been there, I've been there mentally, to
Yeah.
where we needed that mentorship you spoke
Yeah.
about. We needed those leaders. We needed these people from different cultures. We needed the TD
Absolutely.
Jakes of the world to be able to listen to build our character, to say I cannot acquiesce, I cannot give
Yeah.
to this weaker frequency or of my thinking, of
Yeah.
not understanding how I need to self-reflect and self-build my own confidence, my
Yeah.
emotional stability, you know, my mental awareness, my self-awareness, so that I can put this book bag on
And
and,
do what I need to
and keep
do.
living life. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. Dun, 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 dun,
All
dun.
right, let's go.
Woo! There we go. So when it all comes down to it, after everything that we spoke about today and everything that you have experienced in your life, how do you view who you are now
Mm,
if you was judging yourself, not just observing? Now I'm gonna be clear,
okay.
because sometimes people think judgment is bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I spoke about it earlier when it says, judge a tree by the fruit that it bears. A good tree don't bear bad fruit, and a bad tree don't bear good fruit. So if you on the outside looking in at your own life, because you lived it,
Yeah.
and sometimes if you see like a tape of yourself when you was younger, growing up, and how you was, your mannerisms,
Yeah.
whatever. So if you was had an out of body experience, and you could sit back and just view your life, you know, right now, how do you view who you are now?
Mm-hmm.
And if you was judging yourself, how would you view that, and how would you judge that?
If I was viewing myself having out of body experience, I would definitely view myself as a very tenacious young lady. Tenacious meaning just focused, self-driven, ambitious, focus on a whole nother, so focus meaning like tunnel, just straight tunnel. I'm a very tunnel vision type of woman. I definitely would view myself as a loving, caring, someone that's nurturing, a fighter, a survivor,
Hmm.
um, a wise young lady. Definitely a present catcher.
Hmm.
Presence beat.
I never heard anyone say present catcher. You know, people say that I'm living in the moment. You saying you're not living in just the moment. You living in the present.
Mhm. The present,
Everything.
everything, the aroma, the space, the peace that I feel like I feel like I would want to be around a person that was peaceful like that, self-aware like that, have a aura about themselves when someone steps in the room is like, who is that?
Right.
I want to get to know them just because,
Right.
Yeah.
I said, how do you view who you are now if you were judging yourself? But now I'm gonna switch that question up just a little bit. I'm gonna switch it up. So, how do you view yourself? You gave a lot of good things, a lot of good qualities. Now I'm gonna ask you with the same thing. How would you judge yourself? Like you telling yourself, "Hey, this is what you need to probably tighten up on. This is where
Yes.
you might, where you might be lacking at. You
Yes.
know." Um, and do you feel like that it's good for us to, judge ourselves and be honest with yourself and be like, hey, let me talk to myself because myself know what I'm doing and what I'm not doing.
Right. I would say if I was judging myself on more of the tighten up space, it would be more willing to listen to others, be more willing to take critique from not being a respecter of persons and not only listening to your preferred people, but understanding that someone that may not look like my preferred person can also be a person that impart in my life and make a impact change. So, and that could be a negative thing in the sense of only wanting to hear from a certain type of person, right? And pretty much saying these are the only type of people that have my best interests at heart, because that's not true. There's other people that don't look like what I want that may have something that they can bring to the table to give to me. So don't like maybe facial expressions, like kind of be more happy looking. But more happy looking. Maybe disposition. That's a better word. Having a better disposition. Because that can turn off people too. Be more willing to work with others.
Yeah.
I'm like one of those students that's like, I got it. Y'all ain't doing it right. I got it. So, be willing to work better with others, better with peers, better with opportunities from other people, and not shutting it down just because it may not be my idea or my way of doing things. I've heard that a lot. I've heard that a lot from those people you were talking about. Like, hey, ask them how they view you. It's like, you gotta want to work with people, Khadijah. And it's like, but I understood what they were saying. I'm more of a perfectionist, so perfectionist people kind of push non-perfectionist people away, and that's not okay. Learn to enjoy life just a little bit more. Life and all the things that it comes with, because we want to make a lot, like the money, like you were talking about, the jobs, being content with this and that, but are we enjoying what our fruits of our labors are? So taking more time to just enjoy, because you can stunt a lot of memories just staying focused on building. Not too many, just a few.
Okay. Just 100. Not too many. I want to touch on this the end part of that, and don't push non-perfectionist people away. And I like to try to give clarity when someone says something for the audience. I feel like I be gathering what you mean by stuff. So for the audience is that even when a person, or when Khadijah is saying like, don't push non-perfectionist people away, it doesn't mean you lower your standard. You still have a standard. You still live according to a certain barometer and so forth, moral principle code or whatever. But it's that you might go like to the perfectionist above and beyond, and the person is just still got to hold the standard, but just like give some slack. Get some things. Get some grace when it comes to stuff like that, and then take time to enjoy in the process of you trying to become. I remember telling a partner before, I told many people before, is that sometimes you're trying to build something, you leave other things unturned, unworked, So like in the process of you building the man, don't forget to build the business. In the process of you building the business, don't forget to build the man.
That's right.
Because sometimes even with you're focusing on something, I might be focusing on my outer appearance as far as my physique, trying to look a
Mhm.
certain type of way. But are you working those muscles in your arms and your chest and your body? Are you working that mental the same way?
Yeah,
Are you working that, emotion the same way? Are you working that character the same way? Because are you standing on character? Are you standing on integrity to where you are who you say you are? You
absolutely.
know, you're honorable. So it's like make sure that when you take the time to enjoy, you are enjoying the great things about you and not the things that you're trying to accomplish. Because the
Absolutely.
things that you already have accomplished and the things you already have, it comes because of who you are and the work you already done. So take time to enjoy that. And also, while you're trying to pursue money, don't forget to enjoy the people, life, around you, and not try to judge people for people who are not, perhaps, on that same
Yeah, yeah.
journey,
Hmm.
as in, trying to be an entrepreneur or ambitious. Everybody doesn't want that. You know
That's
what I
right.
mean? So enjoy people for who they are and where they are. I might be on a mission to say, hey, I want to own my own business, or I want to own businesses. I want to be into investments. So I want to connect with a Khadijah B. I want to connect with uh, whoever she's connected to. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I want to be able to network and resource. And I have a friend or a partner or a family member over here who's not on that. I don't disown these people. I want to
That's
say
right.
that. Don't disown these people because these people could be still genuine people in your life. They could be your uncles, your cousins who when you go out there to a barbecue, y'all playing dominoes, y'all laughing. It's
Yeah,
it's genuine love.
they
It's
still
it's
give you
authentic.
balance. Hmm.
They give you balance because everyone is not pursuing the same type of goals
That's
in
right.
life. And people start saying that they are outgrowing people. And sometimes you're not outgrowing people. You're leaving people based off of your own ambition
That's right.
versus you could be leaving great, genuine people who just they live in life. You
Yeah.
know, they are okay with whatever money they make, whatever job they have, and whatever. You know what I mean? So take
That's
time to
good.
enjoy people
Yeah.
outside of you trying to enjoy the fruits of your labor from your hard work. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Still enjoy because you might enjoy that process and that path that you on, but that's why I take from you, Khadijah, when you say take time to enjoy, just enjoy life
Hmm.
without all
That's
the
good.
hustle.
That's good. That's good what you're saying because that's exactly what I mean. You know, when we talked earlier about the balance and just knowing your season, it's not saying I can't be around these people for a lifetime. It's just knowing your balance and your seasons with people. And like you said, everybody don't want the entrepreneur lifestyle. Everybody don't want to make $1 million. Everybody don't want to be a investor. Everybody,
Right,
that's not
right,
everyone's desire. And because it's
right,
not their desire, does not mean that they're not good people to be around and to build your soul and to build your happiness with. It's just
right,
that's their prerogative, and they're
right.
do their prerogative. They're do what they want to do, and you still. I mean, for me, I have friends that they don't even want to talk about this space that I'm in, and it's like okay, but don't mean I'm gonna leave you off the boat
Right.
now because I don't
Yeah.
think because this is the thing. I won't leave certain people off the boat because those certain people still help me swim. They
Hmm.
still help me get to where I need to be in their own manner. They still
That's
are a life.
powerful.
You
That's
know,
powerful.
they still are that for me. It's just not in that aspect.
Oh, boom.
Okay. Oh, act like a success, think like a success. Okay.
Yeah. In this book right here, um, he's talking about something similar about be mindful of who you allow on the wagon. You know, when it comes to where you trying to go. And he's talking about, and if you are a leader, say you have a family, right? And you have to pull this wagon up a hill, right? No one else who you bring with you can help you pull the wagon.
Mm,
You know what I
mm,
mean? But they can ride on the wagon and they can assist you, but they cannot help you pull the wagon. He said, you
mm.
do not want people who's only willing to ride the wagon and not trying to figure out what can I do to help him pull this wagon up the hill? Can I grease the wheels to make it turn better? Can I, move something out the way to where he's not, going over logs or, whatever it may
Right.
be. and I give him some gloves to put on them hands because he has to pull it to make it easier for. Because the thing about it is that if you are, I'm gonna say this as a man, if you are a man is in a position in control, or if you are a leader, man or woman, and you are in a position of leadership, right? And they say that no one else can help you lead, right? As far as no one else can help you pull the burden of what it means to be the leader, right? But they can assist you. They said, do not be having people on there. You got 6 people and they all hanging over the
Right. Just
wagon. They see
going to
you
ride.
struggling, doing the right. So when you said that you won't just dismiss people because they're still helping you swim. And he's like, I'm not dismissing these people because they still helping me get, this wagon up the hill. They are assisting me. And the thing about it, he said, because you choose who gets in the wagon,
That's right.
and you
That's
choose how
right.
many people that you feel like that you're willing to carry in our pool in this wagon.
That's right.
You know what I
That's
mean?
like
So,
blaming. That's like blaming people for you drowning, but you let everybody on the boat, and you knew the capacity that which it could be held.
right, right,
Why would you let 30 people on the boat that only allots for 12? That's
right,
all on
right,
the instructor, right? That's all on
right,
the coordinator, the person that's
right,
allowing the people on the boat. So it's just like that in life,
right,
Don't allow too much pressure.
right,
Don't allow for it if it's not conducive for what you're trying to do. It just doesn't make sense, and you have to be the one to check that meter.
right,
You have to be the one to say nope, that's too many. All right, okay, we got to go through a process. Who's worth, who's supposed to be where? Okay,
right,
y'all can't come. And then why? So people will do explanations.
right,
I'm not big on cutting people off without explaining, especially if
right,
they're value.
right,
So it's like, hey, in this season, I'm needing these things and this, and it's tough conversations that comes out of growth too. You have to have tough conversations with people that you value.
right, man. And
The
I want
reason,
people to understand. I want people to understand the power of those tough conversations because everyone doesn't want to have them. I've even lost friends and be able to have access to family members like
yeah,
close because they don't want to have those tough conversations. And I feel like that I'm doing you a disservice as a person. Like I cannot have those conversations, but I'm not going to force it. But I'm going because like it's hard for me, Khadijah,
yeah,
for me
yeah.
to be around people and knowing that this is not beneficial for me. It's not beneficial for you.
Wasting
These are
time.
mistakes. And as a friend or a family member, you won't allow yourself to be sharpened. I had a video that I made when I said that iron sharpens iron, but everybody wants to do the sharpening. No one wants to be sharpened.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
That's true.
like we got to have those tough conversations because for me as a man, when I was in my process of leading and try to lead, I didn't know how to lead, but I wanted to be a leader. So
Yeah,
then ultimately, I wasn't actually leading. I was
yeah,
destroying. You
yeah,
know, I was doing things that was actually making people worse versus
mm,
better
yeah,
because I didn't know how to, because I was in a transition from a boy to a man. I was
yeah,
of a man's age, but still of a boy's mind.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, I wasn't leading. You know what I mean? So it's like it's okay for people to sharpen you. It's okay for people to
yeah,
call you out if they are credible. To say, hey, like you said
yeah.
earlier to yourself, tighten up.
That's
You
right.
know.
And that's
So
and
then,
but that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I was just saying that earlier, like to someone. It's a good thing to have people to push you to say, you know what, in this season, I don't need yes ma'ams and yes sirs. I need someone to say no. This is not going to help you get to where you say you want to be. It's accountability partners. It's people that
right,
are really going to say, this what you say you want. Let's go get it.
let's get it.
Let's go. Don't just say it and we put the work in. You don't want to put the work in. No, we got to go get it. We got to go strive. So it's good. I mean, in life, in business, and everything, the pursuit of what they say, pursuit of happiness. You need people that really are gonna push you. When we think about the pursuit of happiness with Will Smith, his push was his son.
That was so powerful, man.
His push was his boy. Like every day, even his baby boy was like, "Get up! Like
Right.
see how to go out here and be persistent and do what you tell me to do and stay firm and stay 10 toes down." And you in here crying. We in the like we in the restroom. It's time for you to get up. We living from pillow to post, from this to this. Let's go. I believe in you like you believe in me. Get up. Let's go. And sometimes it takes your kids. It
And it
takes
was
your
powerful because he taught him that, and his son was he like, no, you taught me this, and I believe it.
yeah.
And he threw it back at him like when you was maybe in more of a believing stage, you was
Yes.
more in a positive, optimistic level, but then you done took a few more blows, and it
Mm-hmm.
got you very low to where you really now you're doubting. You
Yes.
know, that person who's around you in this situation, it was his son. It was like, no, remember, you don't quit. You
You
don't
know,
allow someone to tell you what you can't do.
that's right.
I was like, woo, but that movie powerful,
And
Khadijah. That
it's
movie,
it's
I might
it's a
watch that movie tonight.
look. I was thinking the same thing.
I might have to watch that movie for real.
That's the truth. But it's like we can't. What you just said about if they're credible, you can't tell
Hmm.
me if I can't put in the work. But if I
Right,
put in the work, you should listen to me. You should want to hear
right,
from me. You should want to hear
right.
from my advice and things of that nature. And you need them people on your team. I'm telling you. I've
Yeah,
had people tell me some things like
yeah,
as I've had people really say, "Khadijah, tighten up. You should be you should really be where you want to be, and you're only stopping yourself. It ain't.
right.
It's just it was me. It wasn't nobody else. It was I couldn't blame nobody else. And it's like your personality. Some people have personality that you can never blame a person
Right,
because you too tenacious. How
right,
a tenacious person gonna let somebody else tell them no?
right.
No, it doesn't work like that. So yeah, so yep.
Man, man, it was an amazing, amazing conversation. I knew it was gonna be. I
Yeah,
knew it was gonna be like the energy from us speaking before. I just knew like how it was just so genuine, so authentic, so effortless. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So yeah, man. Shout out, the show that you be on again, like the name
Shizzle, yep, shizzle,
Panizzle,
shizzle,
my
panizzle,
nizzle.
panizzle. Yes, the shizzle.
Yeah. And
Yep.
where can people find Miss Khadijah B?
They can find me. So I have my Instagram is entrepreneur underscore 86. And then I have my Facebook is just Khadijah Bilal, my whole name. And you can find me on The Shizzle Show as well, The Shizzle Show. If you guys want to talk to me on a personal note, as far as business, then it would be K Enterprise LLC at yahoo.com. K Enterprise LLC at yahoo.com. You can hit me with an email. We can speak on business if you want to see me in a different light other than just the entertainment light or conversational light. And so, yeah, those are my 3 outlets that you can reach out to me. And I'm here for it all. Whatever you want to talk about, I'm with it. Just reach out.
Amazing. I just learned that feature right there too. I didn't even know how to
I
do it.
see that. I said,
Ah,
there you go. But
yeah.
and I
Yeah.
thank you.
So
I do. I thank you for bringing me onto your space. I've watched you, like I say, develop this platform and really do an amazing job with it. It's been a long time
thank
coming
you.
for us to get together and have a conversation on the screen. So I'm excited and grateful for that, and more to come. Um,
Absolutely.
and hey, if I'm ever in Denver, we do a pull up. We might could do an interpersonal conversation, things of that nature. You in Denver, right?
Yeah, you see my chair back there. I got some
Right.
chairs. It's already set up.
And
Yeah,
so,
though.
yeah, I plan on doing some things, speaking
I'm coming
engagement.
to Florida.
Okay, well, let's go. You come to Florida, we're gonna
Yeah.
make sure you accommodated, and it's nice. It's really beautiful out here.
Yeah.
So yes, I really do appreciate it. I really do. I really do.
Likewise, likewise. So y'all, It's one love from me to you. Remember that it's progress, not perfection. You rest in the end, not the middle. My name is Jatir. Her name is Khadijah, and welcome to the conversation. Yeah. Till
That's what's
next time.
yes.